Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. I hope Devontae can go real fast in a car to get to the game tomorrow, Grossi. And today we are going to be previewing the Thursday night football showdown. This was a game that I circled as soon as the schedule came out. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like the Packers are going to be at full strength, but it should still be an entertaining game nonetheless. And to help break it down, I am joined by Mauro Tanaka. He's got his own YouTube channel, a diehard Cardinals fan, as you can see. Mauro, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you, Tom. Very happy to be here. I love your content too, especially the NFC West reactions. I love it. But yeah, it's an honor to be here, and I'm very excited to talk about this upcoming Thursday night game because it's going to be very energizing, entertaining.
Oh yeah, dude, it's amped, and like it's funny because Cardinals fans have reached out to me and they're like, I'm upset that Davante Adams isn't playing because like I wanted to see like a full blown like let's just see these two teams go at it, and I think both franchises, like both teams, because we got some history together, especially
absolutely
some playoff matches. Looking at the wild card, looking at the divisional. I'm ready to call Jeff Janis again and see if he can get some Hail Marys. I'm still looking forward to this game, though. Like there's a little bit of a rain cloud above it, considering who's not going to be playing. But
absolutely.
We'll make do. We'll make do. So Mauro, I gotta talk to you about kind of like the Cardinals' ascent because they're the only undefeated team in football right now.
Definitely. And
the way that it started is obviously a little while back, you draft Kyler Murray right after the Josh Rosen experiment, which did not pan out the way that you wanted to. And like last year, when you're looking at this team, did you see anything that kind of like indicated like, wow, we're close, like we're close to getting there. We're just maybe a season away to having some success.
Simply trust the process. I'm a Cardinals fan since I moved here to the United States because I'm originally an outsider. I'm from Japan. Then I moved here in 2018. So that was the worst year that I saw the first American football, and it was Arizona Cardinals' worst season. However, I love it. I got entertained, and I stick with this team. So, and here we are, trusting the process, drafting Kyler Murray. Obviously, we see some promises. Now getting DeAndre Hopkins with the blockbuster trade. We saw up and downs, but we still see promises. Trust the process every single year. And now it's the year finally we capitalize, and it is in the board. Yes, at the same time, we got luck. We got, bad games, but we find a way to win games. I think that's a huge, big factor why the Cardinals are the best team in the NFL now.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you get J.J. Watt, during this offseason, and it was so crazy because I feel like the Cardinals came out of nowhere with that because like you had good pass rushers last year, you let some of them go, and I didn't even think like J.J. Watt was even on the radar for you guys. So like, what was your thoughts when you actually signed him? Because I know some Cardinals fans are like, he's a little bit older, but some of them were like, this is good considering our secondary is a little bit lacking. What were your thoughts when you actually signed J.J. Watt?
Correct. Well, we did struggle in our D-line side, obviously injuries, and we got free agencies. But I think not only in the field, but his leadership, off the field, what he brings definitely boosts up the team. You saw that speech, the emotional. Like since I saw the speech, it's like, man, if J.J. Watt becomes free agent, the Cardinals need to get this guy. We need to be hungry, and also this really affected now that we're in having this every time a 1-0 mentality. So every game is one win.
Yeah,
so that's what we like to see. And obviously, you see J.J. on the sideline. He's not probably dominant back in 2015, but he's bringing that to the field. And other guys pressuring, helping, getting that consistent pressure. Some plays that are definitely out of the stats. But if you see the game, he has been the big factor on this lead line as well. Also evolving around his team, which is very good to see. And I love his leadership in the field.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that defense and you look at just week one, right? Like Chandler Jones is getting like 5 sacks. Like he's crushing it over there. And this defense every now and then reminds you how good they are. They're the number 1 defense in the NFL right now in points allowed. And if you had to look, because the offense is great too, I think they're number 4 in points scored.
Correct.
Where do you see like the strong suit of the Cardinals? Is it on their high flying offense, or is it kind of in that suffocating defense? Like, which one do you give, I guess, more credit to as to why the team is doing so well?
It's football. Football is a team sport, so I'll
Sure.
obviously want to say both sides. But compared to last year, we were very good in offense. But
Yes.
the defense kind of couldn't stop a couple games, and obviously miscues and the offense stalled down. So we couldn't get like synchronized and get together. But this time, when the offense struggled, especially the good example is the 49ers game.
Yeah.
Our home, I think, is 2 weeks ago. But the defense really was there to keep it tied to try to bring this game alive. So I think the defense, I think, is one of huge factor of this game. Especially, I hear from other fans say defense wins game, defense wins championship. So
Yep.
I think this team's the big difference of the team is defense being dominant, and obviously, as you say, not allowing a lot of points, and also I believe the Cardinals are now number one in point differential as well.
Yep.
So I think that's definitely a big factor for sure.
Well, it's funny because heading into this season, I think a lot of people looked at your division, the NFC West, as like the best division in football,
very
right?
tough.
Because the 49ers were healthy. So you're like, oh, they should be pretty good this year. That went off the rails very quickly. But you had the Seahawks, who also have they have Russell Wilson, the Rams now with Matthew Stafford, and they had that amazing defense last year. I feel like the Cardinals were kind of like the forgotten team there. They were like, oh, they got pieces, but they're still a bit away. But now look at you, you're number one in the division. You're the only undefeated team in football. And the rest of the division, the Seahawks and 49ers are struggling, but the Rams seem to be like the main competition, but you kicked their butts a few weeks ago. So what's your thought on the division that you're in? Like, do you think that this is still going to be a really competitive division, down the stretch for the rest of the season? And, looking at the Rams as your main competition, what are you going to have to do to remain successful against them?
There's always competition division, but as you stated, the NFC West toughest division. The last time we won, it was back in 2015 when we made a great run, as you know. But, it's tough. Again, recent years, we've been struggling, now rebuilding, but we've been losing to these divisional teams.
Yeah.
And last year we had a good chance. We beat the Seattle and San Francisco in the early stage, but after that we couldn't beat it, which was, I believe, 2 wins, 4 losses in division, since we played 3 teams twice, so that's 6, right? So this year, especially if we want to make the playoffs, and we're getting very close and it looks at reality, we still need to get those divisional wins to stay up in the division, and also keep making that statement and give the confident boost so we can stack up and show that we're the best team, and also the best team in the NFL, NFC West, which is a very tough division.
Sure. Was there any kind of surprise, from being a Cardinals fan? Was there a surprise of how well you guys have started off this season? Because obviously there's confidence in your team. You always think they're going to do well. But you guys are doing really well. It's off the charts well. Was this something that was expected? This could have happened, or is this kind of a little surprising?
I originally in the season, since we got him one more game, I made a prediction of 11 wins, 6 losses.
Okay.
But it is surprising. It is definitely surprising we get a hot start. However, this kind of it's related to last year, because we started 5 wins and 2 losses before bye week, which is definitely a good start. This year is different. I mean, we found ways to win. Even we could have an ugly game or a shootout or a blowout, no matter what. But still, winning an NFL game it's very tough. Obviously, everyone else know. But bringing fans, obviously fans in the back in the stands, it's huge. I'm a season ticket holder. I go every single home game. We see the energized. We see 49ers, Vikings fans taking over the stadium. We don't care. We still cheer for the team to win. So I think the fans as well is one of the big factors out there.
It's funny because I was taking a look at the vlog that you did, because you were at the game. What was it, this past week, or is it 2 weeks ago?
I did a lot of them, but yeah.
I saw the vlog that you did. It must have been the most recent one. And there's a lot of energy in that place. And it has to feel good.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's an exciting team to watch, right? Because whether it's the defense, you guys just got Zach Ertz and making that offense even better. Christian Kirk is starting to emerge. You got Rondale Moore, of course, but you got DeAndre Hopkins in there. You got AJ Green in there. And I think one of the things that stood out to me from the Houston game is all of those guys are having over like 50 yards, and it's well balanced, right?
Correct.
It's not just throw it to DeAndre Hopkins. It's we could spread the ball around. You had a nice run game with Edmonds and Connor. So like it just seems like a very well-balanced offense. And then, of course, being led by Kyler Murray, who's in MVP conversations. What are your thoughts on Kyler Murray, how he's played so far this season, and how this offense has kind of like functioned as a whole?
Kyler has an elite talent, that was no doubt. Especially what we saw the last 2 years. He's been taking the step instead of having a sophomore slump.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great to see us just keep him healthy. This O-line, we had Rodney Hudson out, so we got beat up. Against Texans, it was a little concern.
Yeah.
He got a little beat up, but he shows consistency now. He showed confidence. And yes, we saw like interceptions, but he's being involved and stay more in the pocket instead of a run. That was a big factor because he stayed on offseason that he wanted to stay more in the pocket.
Yeah.
So not trying to like rush too much south, because he only has like 100-some yards rushing. Last year, he finished up with 800 something. So he's been very consistent, giving obviously more chances to the receiver and distributing, not only targeting D-Hop. Let's say like against the Rams, Jalen Ramsey is going to be on D-Hop. And he had a tough matchup, but where's the rest? We got AJ Green getting touchdown, Rondale Moore getting consistent, Christian Kirk making dynamic catches. We got also now Zach Ertz now made a touchdown back-to-back weeks. So it is definitely a threat. It's very excited to see, and finally we see the offense being consistent and very exciting, and see the final form of this air raid offense. But of course, we cannot forget the run as well. Chase Edmonds is more like a speedy guy. We got James Conner as a power rush. James Conner has been very efficient. He has like 6 rushing touchdowns. So it's just a crazy amount of chess battle that you cannot figure out to solve. And it's exciting to see obviously this offense. And you as a Packers fan, I believe it's going to be very hard to predict who's going to go off, because it's going to be very well distributed. But we'll see. This offense definitely endless for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of our major concerns. I mean, the Packers, before even Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard weren't going to be there, they're beat up. They're a beat-up football team. I mean, Kevin King has been injured. Jair Alexander's not there. Preston's been injured. Zadarius is injured. A lot of injuries, Mauro. There's a lot going on. And in terms of just attempting to stop this offense, you mentioned the air raid, attack and the air raid offense. And I find that there's fans that are, maybe they've softened on him a little bit, but Cliff Kingsbury is like, people are like love or hate him. And I feel like last year people are like, he's got his limitations. Like he could be good. What is your thoughts on your HC? Like, how are you feeling about Cliff? Are you kind of like all in on him right now? That he's proven himself, especially with this hot start?
Yeah, we definitely he was definitely on a hot seat last offseason without like having a bad game planning or just bad play calls, trying like, Kyler Murray, get pressure and doing him too much. But now, again, we have a surrounded cast, him in a third year, just, learning and evolving. Obviously, we saw the game against Cleveland without Cliff Kings. We have Vance Joseph, who was a prior coach to Denver Broncos, I believe. He's now a defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. He just did his job. So we see the evolving coaching, especially they're sticking each other for 3 years, which is good instead of like keep changing. And we see the development on play calling, play design, game planning as well. So it has been very efficient. Obviously, you got the players, you got the talent, but since it's a team sport, you need to coordinate and manage that to win. So it's good to see Cliff, and he's definitely out of the hot seat for sure. Especially, I really do hate him making a call on 3rd and long, do a screen pass, but he's not doing it anymore. So.
That's it. Good. That was the big thing. The seat has cooled down, is what you're telling me. Okay.
Yes.
It's cooled down. So before we take a look at tomorrow night's game, I want you to actually look past tomorrow night's game and look at the season. So obviously the Cardinals, they're number 1 in the NFL. They're number 1 in the NFC right now. It's a very long season. You mentioned the extra game earlier. We're not even at the halfway mark just yet. What do the Arizona Cardinals need to do in order to get to a Super Bowl? Because, they could have this amazing regular season. They could clinch home field advantage. They could do all these things. But then they're going to go up against some stiff competition, in the playoffs, whether it's going to be the Buccaneers or the Cowboys or the Packers or the Rams. It's going to be these teams. What do they need to do in order to kind of get over the hump and get to the Super Bowl?
First thing, definitely get a home advantage on the playoff. That is huge, especially with the last 5 home playoff games, we have not lost. So, which is definitely a big factor, a huge boost for us per fan. And very well, Mr. Tom. So, our crowd is very energized, but obviously we gotta keep making statement. We're not gonna go 6-0. I'm pretty confident on that, but I'm gonna keep cheering for my team and just making statements, keep being consistent, no injuries. But getting a home advantage, I think, is a huge key, and we'll see from there. Now, concerning is we had this playoff gap for like 6 seasons, so I don't know how the regular season playoffs is a complete different game. So we'll see if we can adapt to that, not being like the Steelers last year, 11-0 and exit first round. So just want to stay consistent. Like the Buccaneers last year, they started like all right, and then finally got together, and they went away playoff games, I believe, and they
won every game.
Every game
after their bye week. They won every single game.
Yeah, you know that very well. And
I'm very aware
for the Super Bowl. So
yep.
So I think having a home advantage is definitely huge, and the team getting together by the end, not just like starting hot. Like it's very good, but just keep consistent and keep executing, be competitive in the field, and stay hungry with that 1-0 mentality. And we never be satisfied. And that's what I like to see for the team, to have a success in a deep playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, because you mentioned how good your defense is playing, and I think that sets you apart from a lot of other teams, right? You could have a high-flying offense, but you look at teams like even the Rams, right? Their defense has definitely taken a step back this year. They were so dominant last year. Definitely not as scary this year, but you look at like the Buccaneers, they have a lot of injuries, but they're starting to get healthy at the right time. The Packers defense is actually not terrible this year. Like that's pretty good. But if you are able to go into the NFC playoffs with a dominant defense, that's already going to put you head and shoulders above other teams and give you a pretty darn good advantage. So yeah, I mean, you have to feel pretty good about it considering how well the defense has been playing.
Well, it's definitely execution, team sport.
That's it. That's all it is. So looking towards tomorrow, let's come out tomorrow. So today, looking at tonight against the Packers. So Packers are down a lot of people. Dave Bakhtiari, probably not gonna play either. Josh Myers definitely out. The one thing that we do have is, we have Aaron Jones. Of course, you have Aaron Rodgers there. You got Dylan. Randall Cobb is probably going to be our number 1 guy. You got the rookie Amari Rodgers. MVS, he's probably going to play, but he's going to be on a limited snap count most likely. So you're getting a banged-up Green Bay Packers team. However, the way that I'm looking at this game is, even though I'm disappointed at all these players who are not going to be participating, it's kind of going to be a great test to see, how can we stack up against, right now, the best team in the NFL. What are you looking at? What are you still being cautious about? Even with all those players out, going up against the Packers, what are your keys to winning the game?
Correct. First thing I want to say that I don't want to never underestimate opponent. Anything can happen in a game of football, even we're 8-0 and favoring the game. But still, our job is to keep winning. They get the pay, so they have to perform. And us fans cheer to this team to win at home, especially this Thursday night. We haven't won a Thursday night for pretty good amount of years. So hopefully we can make a good statement at home, and we'll see. Just execute. That's all I have to say.
How have you guys been against the run this year?
What was that?
How's the run defense this year? Is it okay?
Run defense definitely struggled in the beginning, but what I do see is we do struggle in the first half, and when we make adjustments, second half we just completely stop them. We see a lot of defensive adjustments in the second half of the season. Good example is let's see, the Rams and the Minnesota game. The Minnesota game,
Dalvin Cook.
It was dominated. The second half we kind of managed to slow him down because the first half was just going for battle. Yeah. Against the Rams, we couldn't stop the run, but at the end we just gave them, I believe, 20 points. But it should be in a garbage time because it's supposed to be 13. So you see a lot of adjustments. And recently, we haven't been stopped the run game. Aaron Jones is definitely going to be a huge factor there. So we'll see if he's going to start hot. maybe in the first half, and maybe the Cardinals can make adjustment, or he's going to keep dominating. But that would be one of eye-catching matchups that I would like to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle to beat you guys. I think, the main focus is gonna be on defense. With guys like Jair out, who knows if Kevin King is gonna play. Eric Stokes is a rookie. He's been playing real well, our rookie corner. But, you're going to put him up against DeAndre Hopkins. That's a different beast. And then after that, like you said, you have to worry about so many other threats and so many other guys. Oh, and Kyler Murray, too. There's going to be a lot. Taylor Heineke, ran all over us. He ran for almost 100 yards last week. So it's going to be a battle, my friend. But I'm hoping that it's going to be one of those classics that the Cardinals and Packers tend to have in prime time.
I want to see an entertainment game, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's we just are. If it goes into overtime, I might close my eyes because
a coin is not going to flip. Yeah. I'm going to make a prediction.
Yeah, at least Larry Fitzgerald is not there to hurt me and ruin my playoff dreams anymore. So that's.
Well, I'm sorry, we do have DeAndre Hopkins, but hey, I saw the injury report that he hasn't played past 2 games. So,
I saw that,
but D-Hop is usually that type of guy. He would show up. We had that against either Rams or I think Jacksonville early in the game that he did not play. He was questionable. In that case, he got less targeted, and it was more distributed. AJ Green, Rondon, and Christian Kirk. And Christian Kirk, I believe, it went off with 100 yards, and
Kirk is having
AJ Green
nice
with 120
season.
yards. So there might be that. JJ Watt also is out, so I think he's not gonna be out, but he didn't practice the past 2 days as well. So maybe he's gonna get last snap because he's been around there entire snap. So we'll see how it goes.
That Wisconsin boy, I'm sure he's going to want to play against the Green Bay Packers, but
you'll force him. After that long week, so
that's it. Mauro, I think this was the first time that our teams will meet, and who knows, we might be meeting again in the playoffs. We'll see.
Looking forward.
We'll see how that works out. But Mauro, I appreciate you coming on, bud, and talking some Packers Cardinals football. Where can the people find you? Where can they find your YouTube channel, all the things that you do?
Well, we can find me most of what I do. Well, it's let's say I do a lot of contents, preview, post-game reaction, some thoughts. I'm not an X and O analysis guy, but
sure.
I do a lot of as you mentioned, game day vlogs. I'm really entertained for that, trying to have that, a connection. People cannot, there's people that cannot go to the game. I was one of them last year. So, I want to show how the game day vlog is, show that how the game of football is exciting to watch at the side. So you can see me a lot in just type Arizona Cardinals game day vlog or NFL game day vlogs you might see around it. But my name is Mauro Tanaka again. You'll see me around in Arizona Cardinals, a YouTube fan.
Awesome.
Yeah, fan YouTuber. There you go.
Mauro, I appreciate your time, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck on Thursday night, and we'll be sure to see you in the playoffs.
Good luck, too. Looking forward.
Folks, thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack, go.